What's a Notre Dame football season without some injury updates? Got a couple this week from head coach Marcus Freeman. One positive, one negative. Let's talk about how it will affect the Fighting Irish for the remainder of the 2025 season. Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports breaking down everything Notre Dame football. Of course, the Fighting Irish are heading in to another home matchup. They welcome the NC State Wolfpack to town and will actually be on campus. If you want to come over to Fiddler's Hearth on Friday night, 7:30 Eastern Time, come hang out, talk ball, let's talk Notre Dame football, get ready for hopefully another great outing from the Fighting Irish, continue their winning streak, now up to the number 16 team in the country according to the AP poll. Head coach Marcus Freeman was available for media availability and got a couple injury updates, both based upon the injury report, and then, of course, Coach Freeman spoke about both players a little bit. I want to start with the positive, and I'll work our way to the negative here. So, the positive, for the first time this season, junior tight end Cooper Flanagan is listed as questionable to play. Now, questionable, I think, is a little bit positive in the sense, or maybe a little bit overly positive, because I doubt that we're going to see the California native, 6'6", 255 pounds, play against NC State. But great look and upside for the rest of the season right now to have Cooper Flanagan potentially back into the fold. Head coach Marcus Freeman even said that he's getting really, really close. Now, if you're not familiar with the backstory on Cooper Flanagan, he actually got injured during the playoffs this past year against Georgia, tore his Achilles, and that's typically for high profile athletes like this playing major Division I football, the talents and the size and all those variables together. Usually Achilles are like 12-month plus recovery timelines. It's not usually a thing that they come back from super quick. We are only about 9 months out from surgery from Cooper Flanagan for his torn Achilles, and he's almost back, which is pretty wild to think about. I mean, first and foremost, just the world of modern medicine and recovery. You just kind of sit back for a second. You're like, man, these guys are different than what they once were, man. Like Achilles, obviously, back in the day when we didn't have the technology and the understanding of surgeries and all that type of stuff to the extent now. I mean, Achilles used to be a career ender. Now we're talking about guys potentially getting back in 9 months, fully healthy, playing a physical sport like football. It's pretty incredible just to think about. But this is and it will be, when he comes back this season, it will be a huge help to this Notre Dame offense. Because for people that have seen the offense this year, obviously, a lot of great moments, right? You have C.J. Carr, redshirt freshman quarterback, who's done some tremendous things. Your offensive line has played much better over the last couple weeks. You have Jeremiah Love, who's the best running back in all college football. You have Jadarian Price at running back, who's playing phenomenally. You have Malachi Fields making a lot of plays. Jordan Faison making a lot of plays. The offense, Eli Raridan, a tight end, making a lot of plays. So you have a lot of exciting offensive pieces and a lot of exciting offensive moments so far. But the one spots on offense that I would argue is the least amount of proven depth and gets the thinnest, the quickest, would be the tight end position. Because you have Eli Raridan, who has 13 receptions, over 230 yards. He's obviously done a tremendous job as the starting tight end for Notre Dame so far. But here's the problem with Eli Raridan. One, he's had injuries in his past. But two, Eli, I think, is a really good football player. But he's better when you kind of mix and match him with other talented tight ends and other styles, right? Because he is, and he has been, an explosive big play weapon. I mean, he's averaging almost 18 yards per reception this year. But we have also seen that the fact that he is so heavily dependent upon both in the pass and the run game, I do question of, with his responsibilities as an all-around player, the last 3 games we've seen less and less offensive production. We first saw the first couple games. And I think, a lot's on his plate, obviously, because we haven't seen tight end outside of Eli Raridan really step up to the plate. The second de facto tight end right now is Ty Washington, of course, the Arkansas transfer, who, guys, he's giving a lot of efforts in the run game. And that's his role right now, is he's the blocker of the tight ends, right? Because he's the second tight end. He's going to be in a lot of 12 personnel sets, a lot of goal line sets. He's going to be the guy that you heavily depend upon when you have multiple tight ends on the field to block. And efforts, but I just don't think he's a great blocker. I just don't. I think he's more of a movement tight end, a guy that can catch the football. That's what he was at Arkansas. In his opportunities that he was able to get with the Razorbacks, and I've just been pretty underwhelmed with the blocking. And outside of Ty Washington, we have barely seen redshirt freshman Jack Larson. We have barely seen true freshman James Flanagan. And although I'm very high on James Flanagan, I hope we still continue to see more of James Flanagan. I just don't know what his role is going to be in 2025. I just don't know if he's ready, right? Like, maybe not physically, because he's 6'6", 240-something pounds. Like, he looks physically ready, but is he mentally ready, right? Like, do the coaches trust him to play the entirety of the playbook? Like, that's a major question mark right now for this Notre Dame team. So if you get Cooper Flanagan back into the fold, and even if he's not 100% this year, but he's able to give you that blocking impact that he has, because that's what Cooper does best, first and foremost. He is an impact run blocker. If you're able to get him back, and he's more of your true in two tight end sets, true inline guy, which allows Eli to play some H, allows Eli to line up in the slot, I think you get not only the most out of Eli Raritan with Cooper Flanagan back, but I also think that it adds impact in the run game. Because although Eli's not a bad blocker by any stretch, Cooper Flanagan's just a better one, right? So your impact in the run game, I think, bolsters, and I think that you're allowed to be a little bit more versatile with Eli Raritan and let him play a couple different roles in this offense. And ultimately, I think that would be a huge bonus to have Flanagan back. And again, I don't think it's going to be this weekend against NC State, but maybe it's against USC. Maybe it's a couple weeks from now. Maybe down the stretch of the season, if you were able to get to 10-2 and make a playoff run, they could really make your offense all the more dangerous, the more versatile, and the more diverse you can be. So potentially some huge news there. If we go over to the negative here, right, and we're not going to be super negative because Devonta Smith, who is the starting Nickelback, transfer from Alabama, he is out of the game. He left during Boise State game with a calf injury. Now, it hasn't been announced to this degree, but like I've just heard a couple things where like I'm worried about like the timeline here, right? And to see, I just want to see when it kind of comes out a little bit more of like what is the recovery timetable here, because I think there's some things to be worried about if this is more like a long-term issue, but for now this is a short-term issue. This is a game-to-game perspective, and we know that he's out against NC State. Now, it's not I don't want to say the biggest deal because that's not the right terminology, but this is a move, or this is a situation where you have been preparing on the back end, because unfortunately for Devonta Smith, he has been banged up so far. He's missed a couple games with an ankle injury. Now he's out with the calf. So he hasn't played a ton for Notre Dame since transferring over this offseason. Now, going into the year, a lot of people were excited about Devonta Smith. They thought he was going to be an impact nickel potentially, because you've had a string of Tariq Bracy to Thomas Harper to Jordan Clark, and you were hoping that this was your third straight home run nickel transfer designation. But unfortunately, he just hasn't played much. We haven't seen much of Devonta Smith. He only has like two total tackles on the season and one fumble recovery. So just hasn't been asked to do much, hasn't been available to do much. It's just been very unfortunate that this could be kind of a little bit of a trend in his final year of playing college football. Let's hope for the best and he's able to get back soon. But for the short term, this is going to test your depth in the secondary. Now, luckily, with Devonta Smith out for a couple games, with Leonard Moore out for a couple games, you have increased the quality of your depth. Mark Zachary's played a whole lot on the outside in place of Leonard Moore. You also got Dallas Golden a lot of reps over the last few weeks inside in the nickel, including a couple starts. So I think that there's positives here in the sense of you have created depth. Now, the two players that I expect to see on Saturday especially, and then foreseeable future, depending on when Devonta Smith comes back, is first and foremost Dallas Golden. True freshman, 6 foot, 184 pounds. He began the year as an outside corner, but then he shifted, obviously, after the Texas A&M game to play inside at nickel with Devontae out, and then Carson Hobbs struggling a bit in the slot. So they moved him inside, and he showed a lot of promise. Interception, pass breakup, 13 total tackles. He showed some good signs, right? So I think that we're going to see increased amount of Dallas Golden in the slot. Is he going to make some mistakes as a true freshman? Yes. Is he going to make a lot of wow moments, though, because he's a really good athlete and really instinctive and just a really talented football player overall? Absolutely. So there's going to be some ups and downs there, but you're going to live with it because he's a really talented football player. The other new move that I expect is that Carson Hobbs, after the Texas A&M game where he started at nickel, moved outside to outside corner to help the depth outside, because you were still down with Leonard Moore, Christian Gray. I mean, he's an injury away from starting two outside corner freshmen, right? Like it was a little bit of a tough situation. So he moved outside. I expect him to be playing a whole lot in the nickel against NC State. Now, Carson, being a younger player, only a true sophomore, only played much last year in special teams and then some blowouts. He struggled a little bit earlier in the year. But here's the thing. A lot of players struggle early in the season, early in their careers, and then they get out of it because, hey, I'm talented. The game starts to slow down. Now let's roll here. So I think we're going to see a lot more Carson Hobbs as well. And I expect him to be a whole lot better than we last saw him because I know that he's been working very diligently behind the scenes. Expect number 21 to really step up his game in his absence. Folks, we'd love to hear from you all for the injury perspective. Do you agree with me? Cooper Flanagan potentially coming out a huge bolster to the Notre Dame offense. Defensively, how do you feel about the nickel position? If it's going to be Dallas Gold and Carson Hobbs for the foreseeable future, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on your way out. And as always, go Irish.